Hello class, my name is Kate Petrella, and today I would like to discuss the 2019 film Joker, starring Joaquin Phoenix, as it depicts neoliberalism and anarchism, as we discussed in the readings. Now, Joker was a fairly popular film, and Batman and the Joker are obviously very popular intellectual properties, so I'm sure many of you already know the story of Joker. However, I will be doing a short summary of the film so that we're all on the same page when I dive into my critical analysis. In the film, Arthur Fleck, who eventually becomes the Joker, is a mentally ill man who has in the past been hospitalized for his conditions. He lives with his also mentally ill mother, who has also been hospitalized in the slums of Gotham City. One of his conditions that he is suffering from is fits of laughter that he cannot control and that do not reflect the emotions that he is currently feeling. He dreams of one day becoming a stand-up comedian and idolizes Murray, the host of a live talk show similar to like a Saturday Night Live. In his daily life, Arthur is abused and treated very poorly by his fellow citizens of Gotham City. One day, after he is fired from his job as a clown, on the way home on the subway, he is attacked and mugged and beaten by three very wealthy Wall Street guys, as they describe them in the movie. And in self-defense, Arthur pulls out a gun that he was just given prior, and shoots and kills the three attackers on the subway. In Gotham City and in this film and kind of just in Batman material in general, the Waynes are a very wealthy family that is very important to the history of and founding of Gotham City. That would be Batman's family. And in this film, the Waynes, Thomas Wayne, is actually going to be running for mayor. In the Gotham City of this film, wealth inequality is running rampant, and many average citizens of Gotham City are really feeling the pinch of economic struggles, while those like Thomas Wayne are living in the lap of luxury. The government of Gotham City in this film has been cutting social programs like the ones that people like Arthur need in order to talk to psychiatrists or get their medication. In fact, during the film, Arthur is forced to stop seeing his psychiatrist and is thus unable to get his medications because the city has cut funding for the program that he is in. Due to this worsening wealth inequality, people actually begin to back Arthur, who killed the three men on the train. Obviously, the public did not know it was Arthur at the time, but seeing that, a clown killed three Wall Street guys, it's almost sort of class warfare. So the people who are kind of down there in their luck and having a really hard time in Gotham City kind of rally behind Arthur, who murdered the three people who are outside of their class. By the end of the film, Arthur has completely embraced his Joker moniker and has killed more and more people, including his own mother. He slips further into his own conditions, becoming more mad. After a video of his stand-up routine at a local bar got sent to the Murray show, Murray actually kind of did a little segment on his show about Arthur's bit, and basically he made fun of Arthur, who is clearly, mentally ill. Um, and after that, the bit got such good reception from the audience that Murray and his crew invited Arthur onto the show to do a bit so basically they can make fun of him once again. When Arthur finally gets his turn to be on the Murray show, he kind of snaps and goes on a rant about how people like the Waynes and Murray and all the rich people don't care and will never care about people like Arthur and the people like the regular citizens in Gotham City. After this, Arthur ends up shooting Murray. He says, "You get what you deserve," and then he is arrested and transported through a burning and rioting Gotham City. Joker depicts a world in which the empty core of neoliberalism that was discussed in the reading is shown at full force, and people like Joker and the rest of Gotham City are starting to realize this. Throughout the film, Arthur, who is clearly mentally ill, is treated very horribly by his community. In the first scene of the movie, Arthur is hired as a sign twirler and is beaten and robbed by a group of kids. Another day, on the way home on the bus, a little boy is looking back at Arthur and is clearly intrigued by him, so Arthur tries to make the boy laugh by making silly faces. The mother realizes this and gets very upset at Arthur, and basically tells him off. And when Arthur tries to explain himself, he basically gets told off even worse. After this, he starts to have one of his hysterical laughing fits, which he cannot help. It is a condition. This draws the looks of disgust from both the mother and all the people around him on the bus. And even after he gives the mother a little card that describes his condition, she still has no empathy or compassion for him. Even when Arthur is trying to act in a wholesome way with his community, he's rejected and shown no love by the people around him. Because of interactions like this, Arthur feels like there's no one in the world that sees him or cares about his well-being. People are very mean to him everywhere he goes because of his conditions. One day, when a woman who lives in his building, Sophie, treats him with kindness and just kind of makes small talk with him in an elevator, he latches on to this moment and ends up imagining an entire made up relationship with this woman as he longs for a genuine connection with someone who doesn't see him as a freak. I believe this disconnect he feels is a result of many reasons. First, most of course, his mental illness, which makes it very difficult for him to connect with quote unquote regular people. When they see a man hysterically laughing, it could be a little scary, and to be fair, quite honest, Joaquin Phoenix looks a little scary in this movie. However, I believe this loneliness and isolation has been worsened by the result of neoliberal capitalist policies in Gotham City. Everyone in Gotham City has been feeling economic pressures by lack of social spending, cut on social spending, and accumulation of wealth towards the top, towards people like Thomas Wayne. Everyone is kind of feeling the pinch on their economic situation. They're so focused on keeping their own lives together that they have no time or emotional bandwidth to treat people like Arthur with compassion and empathy like they theoretically should be. Another great example of this film, analyzing neoliberalism, is when Arthur's mother is writing letters to Thomas Wayne. She hopes that Thomas Wayne will send her and Arthur some money to help out their situation because she worked for his company for many, many years. She believes that Thomas Wayne will care for them and that he's an incredible man and that he will do the right thing because he is supposedly amazing because he's rich. Arthur, on the other hand, sees it very differently. He gets kind of upset when his mother says these things, and he believes that Thomas Wayne and people like him will never care about Arthur and will never do anything to help them, which is true. Like I said, Gotham City was cutting back social programs that help people like Arthur. Arthur was forced to stop seeing his psychiatrist and was unable to get his medication. Based on this fact, the viewer can kind of infer that similar situations are happening to people all around Gotham City. Different programs are being cut. I'm sure food stamps, mental illness treatment, things like that are being cut back. In this impoverished Gotham City, people cannot turn to the normal like retail therapy and consumerism that is offered by neoliberalism as a kind of escape from all the problems that we actually have in these systems. So people in Gotham aren't able to kind of escape from the harsh realities of life. This lack of economic security and the dissolution of social connections in Gotham City both help to create the chaos that Arthur merely stoked by committing the murders on the subway. The film Joker also shows an anarchist movement coming to fruition, and it depicts this in a very interesting way. As unrest rises and Arthur's murders serve as a rallying symbol for the people of Gotham, the protests just get louder and louder and louder. And when asked about the murders, Thomas Wayne, who is running for mayor, says that the only person that would kill young, affluent men like the three Wall Street boys would be a clown. Since the average person in Gotham has so much less than the Waynes and these Wall Street boys, they start to support Arthur's murders, and they begin to use the insult clown as a universal identifier. In one of the protests, there's a sign that reads, "We are all clowns." To me, I took this almost as another way to say, we are the 99%, as was discussed in the chapters in the book. People of Gotham are tired of living in a system that is actively violent towards them and band together as clowns or as the 99% in order to make their voices heard through protest. However, the anarchist movement that's depicted in this film is not one that should be aspired towards, and I don't think it's depicted in a way that makes people think it should be aspired toward. I would describe most of the people in this movie, including Arthur, to be individualist anarchists rather than collectivist anarchists, and by this I mean that each individual person participating in these riots and revolts are participating for their own reasons, whether that be to hopefully get some more money for their family, to get the government to start up social programs again, to get some help, or just to even get some anger and resentment out that they've been holding in. This movement very quickly becomes violent, and members are actually even quick to fight each other. They're not unified at all. By the end of the film, the group of individualist anarchists basically accomplished nothing except for killing a few police officers and destroying the city a bit. This film does a great job of showing sympathy to the 99% in a neoliberal capitalist system, while also showing the dangers of an unorganized individualist anarchy. Even if the reasons why Arthur and the rest of Gotham were upset are valid, they're only able to accomplish violence because everyone's only looking out for themselves. And it is this individualism that is encouraged under neoliberal capitalism that actually harms Arthur throughout the film. However, it still breaks through into his own movement, even if he didn't really mean to start it. I believe this represents that how in the current system, both in the film and in the real world, the 99% are made to fight for themselves, to scrap and claw for every dollar and every inch that they can get ahead. But under an individualist system, a collective anarchy cannot form and thus cannot threaten the rich and powerful. The people remain angry and divided while accomplishing nothing. The fact that Arthur, of all people, became a figurehead for this movement also shows the danger of such movements. Although written to be sympathetic, Arthur is no doubt a deranged man who has murdered multiple people by the end of the film, yet people still rally behind him nonetheless. Overall, I think Joker is a great film that depicts the negatives of neoliberal capitalism and how that can stoke the flames of anarchy. This film can show the undesirable outcomes of when a populace is pushed to its limits and is forced to see the empty core of liberalism. I would recommend everyone to watch this film through the lens of Chapter 6, Intents from our textbook. Thank you all for listening or watching, and have a great day.